exposing the hate and exploring the love. This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
Hola, this is Sienna, inviting you to join me tonight as we navigate through the seen and the unseen, explore external and internal realities, expose on-world and off-world agendas, discover a path to joy and freedom. Now, join me as we illuminate the Shadowland and reclaim our birthright as free and sovereign beings. Good evening, everyone. This is Sienna Leia, and this is Illuminating the Shadowland. This is part 2 of a 2-part series with Kelly Lachey and Perry Mills on the journey on our road to sovereignty 2014. Good evening, Perry, and good evening, Kelly. I'm going to just... Hello.
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 Tongue-tied. Yes, we were saying that there's a lot of energy pushing through. A lot of the artificial construct, we've got their attention, so we know we're creating a truth frequency, and that's all good. This hour, we're going to start in the discussion of sacred love and defining a bit more the true roles that we need to excavate in order to actually manifest sacred love with the masculine and the feminine. Kelly, I'm going to turn this, and Perry, I'm going to turn this over to you and take this wherever you wish.
Okay. The thing about... okay, I have to kind of back up here. So we're all, as a community of humans on the planet, we're all living under the constraints of a lot of false identity through affiliation and through our religious training. We've spoken about that earlier in the last segment. Because of that indoctrination, and it's not subtle, it's actually overt, and I think it would be easy if we really had a discussion just on the levels of indoctrination that we all suffer. We'd all be scratching our heads going, oh my God, I'm in trouble. So, yeah, but one of the things that what we're looking at, what everyone that is looking at their world and their powerlessness to really change it or to feel like optimism, given the context of culture and what the way the patriarchy is running amok over this planet, is that they can do this to the degree that they can keep us away from our own empowerment and our own sovereignty. Now, one of the most powerful things that any human can do is have access to a full, expressing, loving heart within them. Well, how do you keep a population in control that you want to vampire off of? Is that you keep them scarce, and you drive the sacred, and you drive love out of the equation. So lots of oppression, lots of servitude, lots of fear, lots of mayhem, just keeps everyone ever from relaxing into their own inner frontier. So when they, because this is by design that they would keep people afraid and that they would drive the sacred out of a relationship and out of love. And religion, of course, always is so good at putting all kinds of taboos up against man and woman to make sure that sexuality is taboo to the point where it comes out in these most distorted expressions, be it rape, or be it dominating their women dominating their men to hold some power in the home. There's so many expressions of this power struggle instead of there being true love. So because of the indoctrination, because they're effective at this indoctrination, people never amass enough consciousness or self-empowerment. If people get to this empowered state, within themselves, with their hearts, with their internal connection to source, and the fountain of power that comes directly within themselves, naturally in their natural state. If they are able to gain that, what happens is the overburdening matrix that is containing and enslaving the masses cannot deal with love. They can't deal with an empowered, loving person. They can't deal with relationships that are looking to each other and source before asking permission from their religion or their politicians. So, excuse me. So this first, one of the big projects, I guess you could call it, is to kind of awaken people to who they are in their natural state of heart, as a man or as a woman or as a blend of masculine and feminine in a man or in a woman. So a large part of what we're teaching and showing is who we are in our natural state, and kind of guiding people to more awareness of that, so they're not living what they think are masculine and feminine virtues, which are really indoctrinated distortions given to them by their religions and their societies.
False roles that actually are making bad and wrong real sex, real sensuality, real emotion.
Yes.
Facing even your shadow, anything real is made bad and wrong. It's keeping this milquetoast, surface, false, superficial energy going. Like if you just keep doing it long enough, then God will bless you with the connection that you've just giving up every second that you're in that contract.
Yes, and I know this is getting off the subject a little bit, but I think it's really important because it's a highly charged subject, and I think people should feel outraged. We do. We feel outraged. But we have to understand the project of separation, the Luciferian project of separation. And so in the life cycle of a soul has to go through its darkest expression of itself to learn how to be an angel, to learn how to be a creator. We've all had to go through this process of experiencing our highest expression of our shadow side. So we also have to have compassion in our hearts for what they're going through, because they're suffering more than we are. They're more parched than we are. And they're going through their angel training right now. So we can't...
Do you mean the Illuminati? What
do you mean?
All
the dark ones, Marduk, all the dark ones that are in charge of this, the popes and all of it. They're all going through their training. And so we have to be compassionate about their process, because if now all of a sudden we make them our enemy, then they are our enemy. And if we push up, what you push up against and what you resist is going to persist. So I consider them as allies. And it changes the whole...
So this just debunks the whole alternative media.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're definitely demonizing.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I bring this up a lot in my writings and in our talks too, that this borrowing of power that happens is, we all do this. We all borrow power and we sacrifice sovereignty. We do this when we allow a government structure to hold us, or a religion to tell us what reality is or what good work is. I mean, there's many places that we are complicit in our own bondage. And because no one wants to look at their own complicity in their bondage, they want to point a finger at something outside of themselves, or the Illuminati or this or that. They want to point their finger at something else because they can't bear their own complicity in making the contracts with these different arrangements. So part of this is very sobering, because everyone is disempowered because they keep pointing the finger elsewhere. Well, they can't control anything they consider outside of themselves. They can only control what they are. So when we talk about all of the positive and negative span of incarnations, from the Illuminati to the archangels, you're talking about everybody who is in a dual relationship in a context that is got both light and dark. Now, everyone's talking about that, but not many of them are talking about that a part of their bondage is their own doing. It's their own trade. they've bartered in a certain sort of way through their denial or through their inability to shoulder the responsibility of creating an integrated and self-loving self. You know, you've got to know your dark shadow so that you can integrate it. If you never integrate it, you project it on the outside world, and then you fight that. And so your world is a battleground now. So the journey to sovereignty gets to the place where you basically get everybody in under one roof in a certain sort of psychological space, and you learn how to forgive it all. But you don't just roll over. You may do a lot of change dynamically inside of that one space, but you do not change anything if you're pointing the finger and if you're being a victim. So this is kind of the direction that we have to take, and this is why Kelly is saying that all of these people serve as teachers. The people we would consider dark, they end up serving to teach us about our own shadows, the part that we've disowned. Mm-hmm. They are what we've disowned. Mm-hmm. And so if we can kind of at least embrace how the innocence that creates an Illuminati master or person, that has to be that innocence has to be discovered within our own selves so that we can forgive it, so that they, in a sense, get released of the contract to fight against you, and you release yourself of the contract to fight against them. And in a sense, all this healing work is done within your own individual soul self.
Well, I think you should all rewind that and listen to that about 1,000 times in the next year. I know I want to. There's the whole thing right now. We're done. Oh my God. Amen. No. Yeah. And I mean, and we all, I'm on here talking about own your shadow, own your shadow. I got to do this all the time. I mean, I'm always making somebody wrong. I forgive those 20 people, but that guy's got a problem, Yeah. This is the human condition. This is why we're here. It's like you think you got it all organized. Now you figured it out, and wait a minute. I ain't putting up with that and that, no, we need to bring that thing down. So right. Do you think there's any kind of standing up to these people that is justified?
Oh, yeah.
The Illuminati, the cabal, the banksters, these people who are torturing and depriving and keeping everybody enslaved and bondage. You think there's any kind of sacred activism that, other than this inner shifting of ourselves, that is in alignment with universal law?
Absolutely, because we are all part of it. We're all part of this fractal universe. So, in a sense, the righteousness, the true righteousness, you could say, lives through our own hearts and our own dealings and the way that we deal with each other. So, what I would like to say about this is that when I describe sovereignty, I make sure that it starts inside at the deepest level of soul with source, okay? The uniqueness of us as an individual soul. That's the most important thing to keep the most sovereign. Now, the layers of sovereignty that include our roles in our cultures are next levels of sovereignty, and there's many adjustments that can happen on those levels. I would never encourage anyone to passively sit within their little sacred space and not do one thing practically in their lives to gain more sovereignty for themselves and for others. But I think it's important not to fight against it in a conventional outside-in way where you think if we can beat all the bad guys, we'll finally get to us, finally get to the space within our own hearts where our life is now peaceful and loving. I say that you work it inside out, but you work all levels simultaneously. You take care of your soul's sovereignty first. You make sure that you are sovereign in your innermost thoughts and beliefs about yourself and self-forgiveness and your righteous stance, you could say, as an individual. And then all those other layers of sovereignty, I think you negotiate and you stand up where you need to stand up, and you use your intuition to decide which battles to take.
So this is you're in a completely different energy field than what is going on through even this alternative media, for example. You're talking about a completely different world than what most of us are doing. And yet you're not saying do nothing.
Right. Exactly.
And you're saying, Kelly, you spent a year looking at the most horrible atrocities of humanity straight in the eye. Yeah. So maybe we need to get back to this sacred love, because if that well is dried up, then there's no way we can be in the right place to even make a movement that is remotely sane, really.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and this is what we've been practicing in ceremony for 3 years now. And we carve out time to practice sacred love. Couples are so busy trying to earn a living and raising children, much less going on dates with each other. It's just, hectic rather than going deeper and deeper. And, the divorce rate is a proof of that. And plus the lack of intimacy, even in common relationships where couples have just resolved to just stay together because they have children, but they're frustrated because they're not getting the intimacy or feeling loved by each other. It's really heartbreaking, because what they're really looking for is to truly feel loved.
Yes. So what do we do? How do you unplug that?
Well, we're going in the Love Revolution tour that we're doing, and especially in the Rise Project. Part of the project we're offering is to teach couples how to, if they want to create ceremony and create deeper intimacy with each other, and teach them how to practice sacred love.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, we need to learn this. Really, we need to just know that we don't know. Face it square on. And is it hard to learn? Do you have a space in there?
No, it's absolutely wonderful. I can't even tell you. And here's the point, the gift through it all is I didn't believe in this kind of love. I thought I was going to live a single woman and just practice shamanism and work with people, and that was going to be enough for me. But Perry taught me otherwise, that there's a love that's available that's beyond what my imagination was. And now that I'm experiencing the depths of these levels and tiers of love that I'm experiencing with Perry and with Source and with my children and with my friends, it's so profound. I didn't know this kind of love existed. I'm learning on the job, and it just keeps growing and intensifying. And it's beautiful, and it's changed the way I see life, and I call it unbearable beauty, the unobserved obvious. I see,
wow.
I'm able to see the beauty in nature. The filters are gone, so now I can actually see the beauty. And I want to keep seeing the beauty, so I keep going deeper in this love practice, because I'm just seeing more and more beauty that can just blow you away.
Wow. I can really feel the authenticity of your heart and of your energy. And frankly, I wouldn't want to study with somebody who wasn't actually living that reality, because at the end of the day, if you're studying with somebody and their energy is not coherent with the words, what they're saying, what they're teaching, doesn't mean you have to be a perfect person. But we get the learning through, it's almost telepathy, isn't it? I mean, that's what the old guru relationship was. You have a transmission from someone who's manifested a certain amount of light and brought in infinite reality and embodied it. And by being and I'm not trying to paint you as a guru or, let's all bow down to Kelly, but nonetheless, it is true that we can learn from someone who's doing this a lot better than somebody who's just writing books about it, for example.
I like to also add that a large part of what we do individually, and what Kelly does all the time in her healing work with clients, and what we do routinely with our other relationships, is we act as a mirror for the side of their nature that's not expressed. So while most people are buried underneath all their indoctrinations and lack of self-worth or self-loathing or hopelessness, they are oblivious to a worthy part inside of themselves, or an innocent part, or a divine part, or a part that is capable of accessing Source directly. And so we don't have any desire to take anything from anybody. We just want to see a smile because we're showing them a mirroring of who they are in their natural state, so that they're lit up enough and see themselves for a moment reflected in a mirror, so that they can pick up their own lamp and start walking down their own sovereign path toward love and toward, satiation.
Well, that's how it works, isn't it? That's the feminine, that's connection. And we can't, and also that's also how the dark works, in that these pieces, I call them shadow pieces, but they can be huge, beautiful, innocent, gorgeous pieces that we're dissociated from, that we never got to live because of the trauma and the programming. And so how do we feel and connect with it? Because we don't vibe with it. We just don't even know how to reach it. If you mirror that back through relatedness, then we can grab hold of it, and then we can be with it, and then we can start making us our own. And that is so much a function of real love in any relationship. And it is also so much a function of what they've taken from us in the separation, in this whole artificial construct. And with our faces in archonic technology and playing video games and watching false images, we can't connect with the simple and the obvious. So that really makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So there's a lot of work to do.
Oh, you know what? Whenever I hear that comment that you just made, Sienna, and sometimes we say it to each other, because it's easy to look at a mountain and you got a teaspoon and you're thinking, oh my God, I don't even want to get started to excavate all of this, right? and I of course I've got to say something. I've got to say, whoa, wait a minute, back up here. Because with every layer that you discover, with every lie that you unburden yourself of, there's a natural buoyancy of spirit that'll flow through your heart that says yes, and it'll give you more energy to take on the next challenge in the next layer of yourself. So it's not like it all only comes at the end of a long, arduous path. It happens every moment with every effort and every intention, and especially if you believe into your intention.
Wow. Well, that's hopeful. I feel a little bit better now. I can get to the end of this interview, I think, anyway. I want to hear about the real qualities of the divine feminine and the divine masculine that are coming out in real life, in embodied life, in your relationship and with your clients, that, things that aren't just so, airy, the big white, like false light goddesses, and they all look so bigger than life, and how do any of us ever embody that? You know what I mean? Like, how does it get real?
Well, you know what? I think it's important that you see a pure version of masculine and feminine archetypes, that you at least have a theoretical understanding of them. I don't think they ever exist in their pure form. They're always some kind of a combination of our practical selves and our divine selves. But I think that if you don't know what the ultimate deep natural masculine and natural feminine states are, you don't even know how to mitigate what you are end up having to do as a cultural person, right? In relation.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a list of things. They're not. I hope this is helpful, but and it will cover some of these divine archetypes for masculine.
Okay, we're going to go into break in 3 minutes, but then we have another half hour. I think this is really important because we need to understand this. Yeah.
Yes, and maybe we'll get to, because there's 6 of them for each masculine and feminine, and I think we should wait till the second part, but maybe there's more that we can say on the subject to kind of lead up to it.
Okay. You guys are actually living these things? It can really happen? Really?
Absolutely. That's where it comes from. And so, first of all, what I feel when we speak about star seeds, and I work with so many star seeds, and they're looking for this. The common thread with all of my sessions is they're looking for more intimacy. Why is that? Because we are here to practice intimacy. That's why we came here. That's how we create the ascension together as a team. And so what our job is to restore the pure archetypes of the divine masculine and the divine feminine through ourselves and each other. So we're we're repairing the relationship between the masculine and feminine, and that's what our purpose is, our common soul purpose. Everybody has their own, each individual soul purpose, but our common soul purpose is to do this together.
Yes. None of the archetypes, as I understand it, none of the masculine or feminine archetypes stand alone. They're always in reference to the opposite. The masculine to the feminine to the masculine. So they define each other and they create this field of interaction. And it's those
completement, yeah.
Yeah. But there's this distance, there's the difference between masculine and feminine, that little space between them that becomes this rich field for this this dance or this bridge work or creativity. I mean, all children are the result, children of creativity. Your Rise project is an amazing child of creation, and so masculine is really defined by its relationship to feminine and vice versa. And so when we talk about the archetypes, go ahead. Yes.
It's all right. We're going to break. We'll be right back, and I do want to hear as much as we possibly can about how to really bring this into embodiment. This is Sienna Leah. I'm here with Kelly Lachey and Perry Mills on Illuminating the Shadowland. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. This is Sienna Leah. You're at Illuminating the Shadowland. My guests tonight are Perry Mills and Kelly Lachey, and we are deep in the reinvention of sacred love, and I am completely turning this over to you right now, Perry.
No, okay.
And I'm all ears.
Well, because we know that the first thing about divine attributes, the divine archetypes, sacred divine archetypes, is that it has to be approached within sacred space. So you're going to have as much capacity to hold these inner sacred virtues within yourself, whether they're masculine or feminine virtues. You're going to have the capacity to hold them to the degree that you can believe that they exist inside of you. And so the creation of sacred space on this subject creates a fertile environment for this to even be believable. So you see, we all are strapped by our own beliefs about what is possible. We are all strapped by our own self-loathing or our self-love, depending on where we are in our process. So when you're talking about the archetypes for masculine and feminine, the divine archetypes, and when you're trying to restore those archetypes so they express more in your life, and to basically move aside the distorted versions that are reflected to you in culture, you have to just drop in a little bit and think about who you are in your natural state, almost as if it was through Source's eyes. You know, look at yourself through something that doesn't judge you at all, that has no conception of you being anything less than perfect. So if you're going to start to benefit from these sacred archetypes within yourself, you're going to have to be easy on yourself, and you're going to have to allow yourself to drop into it. And how they're going to express in your relationships is, at this point, secondary. We first have to contact them and just go, oh, I'm that? Maybe I am that. So let's just start at the inside, the very the very deepest part of our archetypes, masculine and feminine, the part that's closest to God, the part that's closest to the perfection without any tainting or contamination. So in the masculine archetype, I would call that the holder of transcendent virtues, the eyes of clear mind and inspiration of the realm of source self, untainted by temporal identity. Now that shows that you're not defined by anything outside of yourself or your role in life. And sitting right across from that divine masculine archetype is the divine feminine archetype on in its domain, which is the holder of the perfect vision of intuition, the seer of all things through the eyes of the heart. So you can see that those two archetypes sit like two poles of each other.
Mirror each other.
They mirror each other, and where one brings in a certain kind of vision, the other one brings in another kind of vision that complements it. And together, those two visions are equal in their splendor. But by themselves, they're partial. And so we really emphasize the fact that divine archetypes, masculine and feminine, really work best together. And they may exist as an interplay within your own self, because we all carry masculine and feminine. All right, moving on to the next would be with the divine masculine archetype is the patron and preserver of the virtues, love, dignity, justice, freedom, personal sovereignty, and honor. That patron and preserver of those virtues. It's an honorable job to hold, and every man wants to be this on his innermost side. And right across from that in the feminine is the nurturer and the mother of care and compassion, the creator of the forms for soul to even embody, the harmonizer of the tribe, the holder of the space of family and home. Now together those two, you can see how they work hand in hand to create the possibilities. And moving on, if you've got the patience, the third archetype, in the masculine, the warrior, protector of life and limb, of wife and children, of tribe, nation, of natural habitat and world, the power of pure righteousness. On the feminine side, the warrior, protector of her people, the fierce preserver of the virtues of fairness and cohesiveness of her tribe. So you can see how they, again, work together. Going to the next virtue, or the next archetype. Oh, baby, I can't make this work. Sorry. All right, thanks. The next one, the magical creator in the masculine. The magical creator, the generator of progressive and emergent initiatives, coherent social contexts, the intermediary between the transcendent realms and their idealization and manifestation in the earth realm. That's the masculine magical creator. When you take it over to the feminine, she is the holder of the intuitive eyes of magic and the heart of connection to our human nature and our earth, the preserver of our emotional and social viability, the balancer of the dynamics of the heart and mind, of passion and compassion.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
The next archetype.
Yeah, go. No.
All right, the next one. In the masculine, the lover of and partner to the nurturing and guiding heart of the divine feminine. This is the masculine now. The humble and honoring support of her sacred missions of creation, compassion, and unity. The lover and expresser of the sacred in the sensual. And on the feminine side, the lover and partner to the protective power and honorable potential of the divine masculine. She is the cultivator of the field of love, the epitome and expression of the sacred in the sensual, receiving of the fullest range of pleasure from the senses and the body, the ecstatic dancer, beauty in body and motion. And the last archetype, for masculine, the elder, carrier of the holistic and practical wisdom of life, the teacher to the tribe of all things human and divine. And the complement In Divine Feminine, the elder again, the carrier of the wisdom of healing. From her long spirit walk on the belly of our earth, she heals and instructs her tribe in the art of integrity, reverence, and gratitude. So
Yes.
those are the archetypes as we redefine them for our purposes here.
Yes, and the thing is that we are actually capable within these new energies that now are aligning through the galaxies, the universe, through our Earth, through the sun, through the stars. Ever since this change is coming with all of this alignment, we really have a direct line to embody the new human with these qualities. Even a few years ago, maybe this would sound so unfathomable, but from what many people are experiencing and I'm exchanging with, and I know many of you are all around the world, these new templates of energy are available right now, stronger, I think, that they've ever been on this earth for us to make the change into the new human. And it is people such as yourselves that can be wayshowers for us for how do we embody it. And maybe it seems like a gigantic and impossible task, but it's really become so much more direct than ever before. Are you experiencing that with your own lives and the people you work with?
Yes, absolutely. And I believe in our people. I've worked with so many beautiful people, and I have equal dignity with everyone that I work with. We have equal capacity. That's why we're doing this together. I believe that this is totally possible. I believe in every person that is attracted to this information and otherwise, because this is totally possible, and it's easy. It's way easier than we think.
Yes, and I think in some ways we're a bit embarrassed about our sexuality, about our bodies, about our deep feelings. I think we're embarrassed about our sacred connection to all of these things. And that we need to recognize how much of a robber baron that is, that we don't have to feel badly about that which is the wellspring of all of this unfoldment of all of our lives. And this is why I love you particularly, Kelly. You have such a raw vulnerability in your energy that you are so ecstatic with and so humble with, and it's really beautiful to experience, and I can feel the transmission of it again just here with you on the interview, and I don't know what to say really. Where would you like to take? We have about 15 more minutes, and
okay.
Yeah.
So one thing that I love it when someone asks me, so what do you have to say to the women and the men? And I'd like to say for the women, we need to, because when we had the women's lib movement,
Mm-hmm.
they got angry with men and wanted to compete with men and get the same jobs and earn the same money. And then, how can there be intimacy when they're trying to henpeck their men, and they're too busy and harried by working a full-time job and raising the kids, and angry at the husband because he just wants to watch football, and he doesn't want to listen to her talk because all she talks about is her shopping, and she's just henpecking because he's not taking out the trash. These are the kinds of things that we can address. And so at the foundation of that, we need to forgive, first of all, the patriarchy, so that we're not pushing against anything. And then we have to forgive men because they're in their process of healing, and we are in our process of healing. And we have to be patient with the process. And communication skills are of the utmost importance, because without communication skills, intimacy cannot happen. We need to relearn how to talk to one another so that we're not picking fights with each other.
Yeah.
So that's the groundwork there. And there's great therapy modalities and books out there in terms of how to do that. We have a nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg, and then the modality that you know of, but I don't know if there's anything written.
I don't know how much they can access that stuff.
Yeah, but there's tools. We need communication tools, and we need to heal the foundation of what makes us insecure and protect ourselves against each other, because it all comes from insecurity when we're picking a fight with someone and protecting ourselves. So we have to do the foundational soul healing. Liquid mirror is a great tool for that. But both when you're in a relationship, if one person is willing to grow and commit and devote themselves to this path, and the other one isn't, it's not going to work. They both have to be equally committed. And so if one person is committed to this and knows, and it's in the heart of hearts that this is their path, then they have to get real about the relationship they're in if that person doesn't want to do this. And it's not easy because we have codependent relationships. Most of the relationships I work with, it's these cords, and this is in Liquid Mirror, but we have these dark cords, and they come from codependency, from insecurity. Insecurity is what creates codependency. So that has to be addressed first so that you're cleaned up, so that you can start practicing intimacy with yourself as priority. So women need to get in touch with their orgasm. Women need to get in touch with their sensuality and their passion. And I do have links on my site to women that specialize in that. And so if you get in touch with your orgasm, with the intimacy with yourself and self-love and so loving touching your body, then now all the shame is wiped away. I encourage women to, in the mirror, because we're so ashamed of our bodies, our sensuality, and how we look compared to celebrities. That has to go. And that's why I encourage women to sit in front of the mirror and touch your body and love yourself and see it and love it. And then you, at that point, when you get this foundational thing going, you can bring in a man that can match you. And I believe with the Rise Project that people are going to be meeting each other, because some people are in towns that they're like, well, there's no people like that in my town. But I really do believe that in this Rise Project that they're going to be connecting with each other and finding each other, because of this isolation thing is very painful for people.
Yeah, I'm actually looking into the evolution of dating software so that we take it completely out of that paradigm, and we have templates and exercises and ways that people can connect in sacred friendship initially, and in truth, beautiful. And without courting, and without codependency, and without making the other person the all and everything, and now my world is based around this woman, and all of that, to pull it out of all the illusion, all the false mind control, and to find an authenticity and to approach it in a lighthearted way, to have fun exercises. I have a woman who is a sexological body worker. She's made this an intimacy deck, and each card has an exercise of intimacy. And so, I'm also all over this about having to help people have places, safe places, places of integrity and trust and honesty and non-expectation, and all of I mean, there are huge parts of this, but we can have all the backup materials. We can have all of the exercises, and we can do this. It is true that because of the artificial construct, separation being one of the huge tools of the dark team, we are scattered all over the world. I mean, I don't know what percentage we are, the people who are really going to resonate and go, oh, sign me up. This is totally where I'm at. I don't know. It's probably a very small percentage. But nonetheless, like you say, it is the building a world of lovers is what's going to shift the whole energy. This is the huge irony, because who would ever have thought people act like that's self-indulgent, what you do on the weekend in between your job or something. Not that this is the deal breaker. And bringing it back. It's funny. I live in Ecuador in a sacred valley, and I was praying very deeply here for solution. And, thinking about all, new technologies and everything in the world, and just praying and praying. And what Ma said to me is, I want a valley of lovers. That was, And that's all she said. It was,
Wow.
yeah. So it's just like, because what does, like, when these sacred orgasms happen, how does this break our contract and our hold on the universal construct? What is the real alchemy here? I know you've touched on it in these 2 hours, but could we address that a bit more as we're coming to the end of this?
All I know is that it's been squelched for a reason. In Africa, women are not only circumcised, but then their yonis, or the vaginal opening, is sewn up so that literally when they are raped by their husband, they're raped even more because it hurts more. So the female orgasm has been squelched for a reason. So, what would happen? And this is what the Ascension was about to begin with. Remember that 2012, that all it really meant with this prophecy from Hopi as well as the Keto is that the feminine will be rising. And so women want to know, well, I'm feminine, so how do I participate in that rise of the feminine? And this is it.
Orgasm.
Yes.
Sacred orgasm. It's not just orgasm. I mean, there's millions of literature about all of this and technologies, and it's not about the technical. Well, although learning the technical aspect, I'm not putting that down, frankly. I think that's a part of it. But
Yes.
the sacred, the rising of the feminine, the allowing that energy to embody. And because with it, and there's that incredible book called Vagina, the biography by Naomi, I think it's Watts. She talks about the seat of intelligence, that the literally building the brain bigger and the neural connectors and the return of a kind of intelligence that has been squelched literally is birthed on a biochemical and physical level through orgasm. Have you heard of that book? It's absolutely incredible. She's done all this scientific research. It's called Vagina, the biography by Naomi, and I forget her last name. It is absolutely about this.
Wow.
And
Wow. And then I'd like to speak to the men for a moment, that they need to learn how to give a woman an orgasm. And there's a huge movement happening right now. Jason Julius is one man that has video of how to bring a woman to orgasm. And probably the cleanest one out there. I don't agree with, there's some things that, but there are books for men to learn her body and how to bring her to orgasm and how to make her feel safe and intimate as well. She needs to feel safe. She needs to feel beautiful. She wants to feel like she smells good. And men need to know that, to know how to relax her into receiving that. And this is what I'm also realizing is that men are wanting this because there's this huge movement that they're actually wanting to learn how to give women orgasms. It's a huge movement. And they want that because they're looking for that intimacy with her. Now, why is that?
Isn't it true?
You see, the masculine is trying to rise already through common man.
yes. And isn't it true that a woman who is really opened up and orgasmic, I mean, the orgasm for a man is in a whole other dimension. Once you experience that, you're not going to be seduced by some Barbie doll that is Botox from one end to the other and is playing you and is completely shut down. I mean, there's going to be no energy into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there is no energy.
Right. There's no comparison of the two. They're two different realms, like you just suggested.
What about polygamy? I know that's a huge topic to have with like 5 minutes left in the show. But do you believe that monogamy is essential? Because there's a lot of really evolutionary people that are very big on thinking that we have to be polygamous in order to be free and sovereign.
Wow. Well, this subject comes up a lot, and I have my own personal views, and I would never suggest that for any individual sovereign soul that certain pathways are more appropriate for them working through their intimacy issues. It's my personal belief that if you spread the intimacy out, you get less depth, and so I prefer myself more depth, and so to me monogamy is the best environment for more depth and more safety and more the exploration of intimacy is better on one-on-one. That's my personal preference for the reasons I've just stated.
Mm-hmm. I think that, there's a huge, there's a lot of manipulation here, because as we're trying to break our chains, I mean, a lot of the possessiveness, the codependency, is about you belong to me. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes we're over jumping into the other as liberation, which really is slavery in another way, because we've missed, with all the woundedness that human beings have, I don't believe they're really capable of depth and safety and intimacy with multiple partners. Very few. It's a wonderful, I think that in 5D, that's where we're all going to be. And we won't even need bodies to do it anymore. We'll all be orgasmic all the time with each other. But here, I think it's, in this transition time, I have never seen, I find them noble experiments and courageous, but I haven't seen them work yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Keen observation.
All right. So, again, we're just about to the end. 3 more minutes. This has really been wonderful. It feels like there's so much more depth. I am loving the work that you're doing, and that you're doing your tour, your Love Revolution. And I wish you great success with it. And I'm so delighted that you're going to be at Rise, multiversity.org. It's a much bigger project than I anticipated. So I keep kind of extending the start date. But I'm working very hard. I just want you all to know, because I believe strongly in creating, as the feminine, this field where we can dive into all of this yummy, intimate connection and find some real nurturing and sacred reconnection to life at all levels, so that we can be who we've been waiting for. And I'm so honored and delighted that you and Perry are going to be part of that. And now, if you would just again tell us how we get in touch with your work, people who are ready to do some intimate sessions right now, how that would happen.
My website is liquidmirror.org. My email address is kellylachey@gmail.com. And we'll be posting, my article is already posted on my website, and Perry's article that he just read out loud, that one section of it, will be posted, and it's an excellent, excellent article. It goes in even deeper than what we got to get to today. So I just encourage people to, if they want to learn more, to just go to my blog so you can read these articles, and we've written other articles too. So yeah, and we're just here. We're dedicated and devoted to support everyone through this process. And thank you for creating Rise so that it's easier to tribe together. We're re-tribing so that everyone has access to each other, so that we can participate and do this together in a passionate, loving, wonderful way. We're all going to fall in love with each other. It's already happening.
By the way, if any of you out there resonate with the Rise project, go check it out at risemultiversity.org. We do need a few more volunteers, especially with technical and web development skills. It's a gigantic process to reconnect through the archonic technology. If you would like to help, please contact me through Rise. Big love to all of you. Thank you so much, you too. Good night, everyone.